And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Danny Cannell. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Barton Simmons. It's Thursday. We know why you're here. So we're here to deliver the winners that you come for every Thursday with the Locks edition of the show. Thank you to all of you that have already subscribed to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cover3. It is that multi-platform excellence. You get to see our beautiful faces. You get to hear our incredible takes and our picks. So make sure you check that out again, youtube.com/cover3. The Cover 3 show on CBS Sports HQ continues on Thursday. We will be on at 4:30. On Friday, we will be on at 4:30. And a little bit of a tease, special guest, maybe someone with some interest in this weekend's game. Much more on the game and the many headlines surrounding it coming up here in just a little bit. But gentlemen, as we take a quick look back at the weekend that was, it was a 2-6 weekend for Tom Fornelli. Tom, what were the lessons learned across the weekend?
This is how we're starting the show?
Yes.
Hey, Tom, you sucked last week. What did you learn? I didn't really learn a whole lot, honestly. Just a bad week. There wasn't nothing to it that I could take away. I learned that Boston College might be better than I thought it was offensively. I learned that Syracuse, the dome isn't always electric. And I learned that Mississippi State is not a good bet if they're not going to score on offense, and KJ Costello is going to throw like 35 interceptions or whatever it was. That's what I learned.
Okay. 2-6 on the week, 17-19-1 on the season. Barton, 3-3, now 21-15. You maintain your lead in the season standings, up 4.5 units. What were the big notes from your week 6 on the Lock Spot?
Always bet overs, never bet unders. 2-0 on the overs, 0-1 on the unders. Scott Satterfield might need a little bit of a shakeup on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but otherwise, you know what? I survived the week. That's fine. I can live with it. It was a tough slate.
Yeah, it was a tough slate for everybody. 4-4 right here for your boy. A net zero, 22-18 on the season, up 2.2 units. Positive, but still trailing Barton for first place on the season. I would say I took it on the chin with USF, and I came back. I mean, listen, we'll talk about maybe the Bulls and the Owls in a little bit as they look for a bounce back against Temple, the 0-1 Owls after they finally got on the board. But yeah, I got to say the overs were hitting. And so were the Clemson unders. Big game Dabo coming through. So 4-4 on the week for me. Danny, live from New Haven, Connecticut, 3-3 on the week, 19-18 on the season. What were the big notes and takeaways from last week?
So we have our guy Fornelli is trust the process, right? I'm going to go with. I think you have to go with trust the chaos this season. Like I went back and I'm like, LSU, they got to be better than Missouri. Like they still have this national championship hangover, sure, but still they have to have more talent. And then we see just absolute chaos unfold. They lose the game. Auburn should have lost Arkansas. I thought Arkansas was going to be atrocious this year, an easy win for everybody. And even though they had their first one in the belt, I got caught up in some of the traditional favorites, we'll say, and I got to get off of those. So I'm going to trust the chaos of college football this season.
And Florida State covered.
Yes, they did. They're back, baby. They broke the trend, but maybe a little foreshadowing there for a little later.
All right. Okay. Y'all ready to lock it up?
Let's do it.
We're picking locks.
My Blue Plate special 5-star locks are coming.
Since 2005, when Service Academy's
Go get these locks. 5-star master lock. Lock it up.
The under is 33.91. You do that over a million times.
You want these locks.
I'm living and dying every point, every cover.
All right. The no winner on the week. As a group, we were 12-16. I was 4-4. Barton was 3-3. Danny was 3-3. Let's go. Then you know what we should do? Let's just dive right in. Okay. So Alabama, Georgia, just like the whole college football world around 6 p.m. Eastern time, just shook a little bit. And, thank you to those of you who listened to the emergency pod as we sat down fresh off the CBS Sports HQ set to give our instant reaction to the news that Nick Saban has tested positive for COVID-19. He has left Steve Sarkisian in charge of the preparation. We mentioned how the coaching staff at Alabama is filled with former head coaches. The team has great senior leadership, but this game is still absolutely massive. What was a 6-point Alabama spread has dropped now to 4 points in favor of the Tide. Is anybody going to throw a lockdown on this one? Because whether or not we lock it up, I do think that we at least need to spend some time breaking this one down, because 8 p.m. CBS, CBS All Access will have the pregame, halftime, and postgame on CBS Sports HQ. Like, this is just going to be it. It is the weird storyline in what is still a massive game for all of college football, national championship race, SEC championship. So I will say first, are there any locks? But regardless, I do want to hear where everyone's head is on this game. Because, come 7 p.m., no matter what's happened with your card, you're going to want to get in on it, right? Like, everyone here is going to end up at least having some kind of angle come game time. It might be a principal big game under. It might be a wait for the live bet. It might be a halftime play. But where are y'all at as we sit here on Thursday?
I got a lock.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does anybody else?
Yeah, I do.
Nope.
All right.
I have a pick in my column, but I'm not locking anything up.
Is that because of uncertainty? Like, is that just with the idea that, okay.
If you told me today that the line was going to be 3.5 for Alabama, and you knew that the only issue Bama was going to have was Nick Saban, and he was just not there, I would hammer Alabama. But I'm a little bit cautious of hammering Alabama at laying 3.5 without kind of seeing where we go with this. Like, we still have another 48 hours and change till the game. That last test, is anybody else impacted? Is there any other position players impacted? If not, I'll probably hammer Alabama if it's here at 3.5. But I don't know, so I'm going to stay
down
away.
to 3.5.
That's your best price.
If you're on Alabama,
if you're
on Georgia, it's at 4 still.
Yes.
So you're assuming
Correct.
I'm on Georgia, huh, Tom?
I'm not assuming. I'm giving you all your available options.
Okay. We've been Chip, like, and so we talked to Rusty Manziel and Travis Reier, like, broke down all the sides, got into every nook and cranny of this matchup. I got on the Barton and Bud podcast, and like, Bud was just like getting into every like minor matchup. How are they against the middle of the field, defending it? How are they like attacking the middle of the field? What does it matter if, is Alabama more equipped to defend this defense than they were Ole Miss's defense, and all the minutia of this matchup, and of which there's a lot, and it's a fascinating matchup. We've gone over it extensively to this point. But like, look, sometimes I'm going to get into that, and sometimes I'm going to tell you when it's just sort of more hunchy. And this one, I got kind of shaken to my senses when I got an email from a buddy of mine, shout out Beamer, and he was like, "You guys are totally overthinking this." He was like, and this is a Georgia fan, and he was like, "Stetson Bennett is going on the road to Alabama. Alabama is like this, like, put the house on Alabama." And so he sent me that before the Nick Saban news came out, and I was like, that's like a pretty good point, because we've seen Stetson Bennett at this point. He's been good. Like, I think he has been a top half of the SEC quarterback. He's been operational. He's been consistent. He has given them what they needed, and yet we got a lot of tape on Stetson Bennett at this point. We know who he is. Alabama knows who he is. And so I think that is a defense that is going to force Georgia to make Stetson Bennett beat them. And then the Nick Saban news pops, and the line drops now to 3.5. And it at 3.5. So I was tempted to take Bama at 6. Now it's down to 3.5. I'm getting 2.5 points of value. Maybe I can even get more before kickoff. And I'm like, what's changed? I understand. And I sort of, and Chip, you correctly sort of kicked me out of the show for a second when I was like, I don't know, maybe Bama's better off without Nick Saban, which is a ridiculous statement. Like, that was absurd. But the idea that in a one-game setting, you can't circle the wagons and have an elevated performance without your sort of leader, and that everyone can't pick up the slack, whether that be on the coaching staff, support staff, or on the player side, and just really dial in for a really strong performance, I think it resonates to me. And so I just figure with the value that we're getting on this line, I'm going to take Bama. Tip of the cap to my guy for shaking me to my senses. I'm going Bama. It's not Georgia's time yet. Maybe in the championship game when JT Daniels is ready, but I don't think Stetson Bennett's got it.
I'm so moved by Barton's preamble there that I'm jumping in on his lock, right? I'm getting in on it. We're 3-1 when we're in lock agreement. I'm going to keep riding that Maverick and Iceman train.
There we go.
You just echoed everything. I think they'll be fine. Yes, word of caution, if you are thinking about this game, pay attention to who's playing and who's not. But I could not agree more with everything you just said. Count me in.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I was going to do Bama at 6, then I'm going to be in on Bama at 3.5. And I loved Barton, your point that it's like not just a Najee Harris for senior leadership, but just Alex Leatherwood getting into his teammates' ass after they had to punt against Ole Miss and then just coming back with a nastiness. I like the oh my gosh. Are we doing it?
Mm-hmm. We are.
To infinity and beyond.
All green.
Infinity.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's in the column. I wasn't going to lock it up, but if everybody else is doing it, fine. I mean, I wrote on in the Monday after, and I talked about it on the reaction pod last week on Saturday. Like, the lead of my column was my biggest takeaway from watching Georgia beat Tennessee and then Alabama's game against Ole Miss wasn't Alabama's defensive struggles. It was, my God, there's no way Georgia's offense can keep pace with Alabama or teams like that over the full 60 minutes with Stetson Bennett. And that hasn't changed, Nick Saban or not. And going into this matchup, I agree with Beamer, Barton. I don't see Georgia going on the road and being able to keep up with that Alabama offense, because the Georgia offense so far, if we look at S&P Plus, I think it ranks in the mid 30s to like low 40s. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. And while Alabama's defense isn't the Alabama defense that we think of, from like 5 years ago when it was the most dominant force in the country, it's still a top 20 defense in SP Plus. So I look at the matchup. Alabama's got the offensive edge. Defensively, Georgia's got the edge, but unless they score points with their defense, I don't think that they're going to be able to cover the spread and win the game. Now, maybe they do that. It's just Mac Jones hasn't been turning the ball over. Alabama hasn't been turning the ball over. They've been good with the ball. They've been pretty much unstoppable with the football in their hands. So it's like Georgia's defense can only do so much for them in this game. So yeah, now that the spread's at 3.5, I mean, at least we finally found the answer to the world, the lifelong mystery of how many points to a spread is Nick Saban worth.
Oh yeah.
2.5 points.
Yeah.
That's like more than a starting quarterback sometimes, depending on who the starting quarterback is.
I think it's too many too. I don't think he's worth that much personally. I on a game day, if you lost him for, weeks at a time, prep, all that, yes. But on game day, I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact.
What is Nick Saban's, what does he add to a program? He adds the discipline, the structure, the day-by-day consistency, the culture. He's not calling the plays. I mean, I'm not saying he's like just like sitting out there like chilling, like observing the game. Obviously, we know he's involved and active, and he's a big part of the wins. But like that's not what that's not why Nick Saban is greatest coach of all time. It's because of the way he builds a program and maintains it.
Does anybody want to get in on the total with me? No. Okay. Under 56.5, little bit of a principal big game underplay. If you listen to the big game mega breakdown, I think Travis Ryer, specifically from Bama Online, said he thought it was going to be decided in the 20s, and that's going to be sweaty. 56.5 is a hook over a key number. So we've got a little bit of an advantage there, but just the nature of this game, if it is played a little bit tight, I think that we have a chance. Just a gut, a principle fire. Like if I was sitting around sweating this going into the night, like that's ultimately where I would land. And so I want to put my money where my mouth is here on the Locks podcast. So I will be going Alabama, Georgia under 56.5.
A little bit of breaking news that affects one of my locks, which I'm now removing from the lock. Cincinnati, Tulsa, postponed.
That also takes a money line sprinkle off the board for your boy.
Who's
Games
responsible
being
for that one?
postponed due to positive COVID-19 cases with the Bearcats. It has been rescheduled for December 5th in Tulsa. It was a wonder.
No,
We were talking 20-mile-per-hour crosswinds, Chip.
Oh,
I mean, and especially there in the plains. I mean, that is just ripe wonder country right there. The Golden Hurricane. They're like a wonder team. Their whole mascot is based on that. Well, that's disappointing. We're taking off a lock and a money line sprinkle. All right. Does anybody have any Friday night action or Thursday night? If you got any Georgia State, Arkansas State locks, but we got a BYU in action on Friday night. Anybody want to jump in on BYU Houston?
I'm going to jump on them. Anybody else?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You guys know my feelings on Houston. They did get the win against Tulane. It was impressive. This is, to me, is more about a little bit of an overreaction. I believe this line was at 3.5 earlier, and it's gone up to 5, where BYU is laying 5. I think it could even move a little bit more that direction. BYU's 3-1 against the spread. Of course, last week it was set 34, and they only escaped by a touchdown. I feel like that was the wake-up game. Oh, okay. And maybe possibly a look-ahead game to this one. I think this is probably one of their opportunities where they could impress if they do have an 8-0 season. So I'm taking BYU and laying the 5.
I can get you 4.5.
Oh, even better.
And I like Houston, but they turned the ball over 5 times. If you do that against BYU, they're gonna make you pay. And again, the principle BYU plays, if you catch them on a Thursday night, Friday night, or Monday night, or at 10:15 Eastern time on a Saturday, they're bringing their A game. Get them lost in the weeds at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. They know that nobody's watching. So it's big stage BYU. That's the principle here. So we're going to be laying the 4.5 with the Cougs.
I'm not on any side of this, but I talked about it on HQ with you earlier this week, Chip. Is there no concern on either of your parts that BYU was a 35-point favorite last week, and now a week later it's only a 4.5-point favorite? There's nothing about that worries any of you.
So I think the Houston power rating is good because they've got speed and talent. Like, I think that when odds makers look at Houston versus UTSA, I think they see a better number. I don't think that it is as much BYU related or related to the performance. Like, am I supposed to be worried that there's like player availability issues or something like that?
Maybe, but I'm saying, do you think that Houston would be a 32-point favorite against UTSA?
Maybe. And that's my power rating argument. My hunch is that Houston, whatever Houston's number is, because of just because of the associated talent and the players that are on that roster. Like, have you ever seen shout out to Sportsline's Kenny White? Have you ever seen his little sheets where he's broken down the point value of every single player? Like, I think that whatever Houston's power rating is must be pretty good. All right.
To me,
Not concerned.
Not concerned. All right. So who's up? Who wants to get something? Barton, Tom?
I'm over here doing some last minute research on one of my plays. But I'm happy to go next.
I'll go if you need more time.
Have at it. Let me finish a little bit of research here.
All right. I'm going to the ACC. Taking my lock of the week in the 6-pack. Taking our beloved Pitt Panthers plus 13.5 at Miami. This is just a situation where we saw last week Clemson defensively kind of gave the world the blueprint for how to slow down this Miami offense by keeping De'Aaron King in the pocket, forcing him to go to his receivers consistently to move the ball down the field, and he struggled to do it. Miami struggled to do it. Now, of course, Clemson's able to do things defensively that very few other teams are able to do because it has Clemson's defense and it has Clemson's talent and it has Clemson's corners. But if we look around the ACC, there are only two other good defenses really in the conference, and those are Notre Dame and Pitt. And Notre Dame's defense might be a little bit buoyed by the fact that it's played Duke, USF, and Florida State so far. Pitt's defense has been spectacular as well. Pitt has very good talent on its defensive line. And while I don't think that it's going to be able to do the same kind of job Clemson did stopping Miami, I do think that it's talented enough defensively to at least limit what Miami's going to be able to do offensively. So I think that this is going to be a lower scoring affair, although I don't really like a play on the total very much. But what I do like is that in what I expect to be somewhat of a low scoring rock fight, I'm getting just about 2 touchdowns with Pitt. So lock that up for me. The Panthers plus 13.5.
Lock agreement.
Yeah.
Give me another one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Lock it up.
Look at this. So it's interesting you went to that game, because what I was actually doing, this is the game I was researching before making this pick, because the only thing I'm concerned about here, Kenny Pickett is banged up. And so I kind of want to make sure I'm comfortable with the backup quarterback situation, maybe comfortable with Kenny Pickett's health. It sounds like he's probably going to still play. But like, this was almost like a borderline spooky line, like one that's almost scared me off. This feels way too big. These teams are actually, the numbers say they're very similar. They're kind of opposites of each other, reverse reflections of each other. Pitt has a really good defense, and yet it's a defense that gives up big plays. Miami's offense actually hasn't been great. It just generates big plays. And sort of the reverse is true for their other units as well. I think that Miami's part of the issue for Pitt this year has been they're really good at the defensive line, but they're not great in the secondary. They've given up some big plays in the past game. Miami's receivers have not really been making anybody pay to this point in the season. I think that's sort of negated a little bit. I think that Pitt's defensive line will be able to do some of the things that Clemson's defensive line was able to force Miami into. And I think that Pitt they're inconsistent on offense, but they're capable of getting some big plays. They're capable of generating points. So I just think this is like way too big of a number, especially when you're talking about the hangover effect of a Miami team, which is always present. They just got done with this big matchup against Clemson, biggest game of the weekend, Herb Street calling it, all that stuff. And then now they got to come back and play Pitt, who's just your classic, like, hangover buster, like just the team you don't want to play when you're hungover. And I think Pitt could win. And certainly I'm going to take 13 plus.
It was, when I had it written down before, it was at 14.5. I know it's not there now. I'm going to take the 14, maybe before it comes back to 13.5. I'll take the 2 touchdowns. 3 times the Hurricanes have had a game day site, right? You get that extra energy, you get the primetime window. You're just in, and now they're coming back home, noon game, ACC network. They're allowing 13,000 fans. I'd be surprised if they get 1,300. It's just a game that fan base is spoiled about. Like oh man, we lost against Clemson. Well, when's our next big game? It's not Pitt. They're not thinking that way. And I think it's interesting because we talk about Miami. Are they back? If you want to prove you're back, this is the game that you need to win and win impressively. And I don't think they're back yet. So I look at this one. It opened at 9.5. I was going to ask you guys, was there some news out of this game? Was there something when you see that much of a move one direction? But if it's just people saying, oh, Miami's back, this is a team that's, was right there, I still think they have a long way to go. So I'm taking the 2 touchdowns as well.
I think
I'd be tempted to take it at 9.5 too. To be
I had it written down at 10. Then this is
I originally had it at 10.
Yeah, I liked it then, and I like it even more now. And Barton, I heard you mention it. I was considering it for a money line sprinkle. I don't think I'm not going to go there, but it was one of the games I had as a potential option.
Confidence is a big part of trying to make sure that we've got our picks down. Confidence is a big part for everyone as you go about your world, as you're doing your job, as you're trying to be the person that you want to be out in the community, and feeling confident in your clothes. It really helps you go after your goals. It helps you be that kind of person. And one thing that can really help you with confidence is Express. Express is all new with its all-day comfort. And as you're putting on those Express pieces, it feels like you're wearing your favorite sweats, but it's got a flattering fit. You don't look like a slob, even if you feel just as comfortable as if you've got your sweats on. They've got wrinkle-resistant fabric that's going to allow you to be able to have the same outfit and carry it into many different situations. And that is what you're going to need. You want to have one outfit that's going to work for the most casual hangout or the most dressy work event. And you can have $25 off your $50 purchase if you text COVER to 397-737. That's, once again, text COVER to 397-737. Receive $25 off your $50 purchase. You can put together, with all the different pieces that Express has with its all new, all day comfort, you can put together the perfect outfit. Heck, do it for a whole week. Again, text COVER to 397-737 to receive $25 off your $50 purchase for all new, all day comfort from Express. All right, let's keep it in the ACC. All right, Danny, rivalry game. Let's bring it to the forefront.
Oh, that's right. What you got?
North Carolina in the top 5.
Yep.
Playing a game as a top 5 team for the first time since 1997. It was deemed Judgment Day. They were taking on the number 3 Florida State Seminoles, Kenan Stadium. Place was rocking. There were people hanging off the buildings. Chapel Hill ain't never seen college football quite like that. Head coach then, Mac Brown. Head coach this Saturday, Mac Brown. In that game, North Carolina just couldn't block them. Couldn't. Final score is 20-3. Little Chip Patterson in the stands. Had his little Daily Tar Heel out studying the depth chart. He was screaming. He couldn't believe that North Carolina couldn't block him. But on this Saturday in Tallahassee, Florida State won't be able to stop him. Couldn't block him then. Now you're not going to be able to stop him. But as I dug deep on this game and as I dug deep on North Carolina, trying to get my head around a team that will be favored in its next 4 or 5 games, that could enter that 2-game stretch against Notre Dame and Miami at the end of the year, 8-0. Could. So what's the weakness? Defensively, they are thin and they are inexperienced. And so as Jordan Travis, JT, as Charlie Ward, friend of Danny Cannell, likes to call him, as he continues to get some confidence, and as we saw Florida State's offense be able to move the ball a little bit on Notre Dame, I think that North Carolina's offense, combined with its weakness on defense and Florida State starting to gain confidence on offense, I really like the over in this game. So I'm going to go North Carolina, Florida State over 63.5. A lot of points, big number, but in the year of the over, it's what I'm smelling right now.
What year was that game you referenced in Chapel Hill?
97.
Okay, that was after I was gone. I thought, because there was a game probably in 93 when Sean Jackson, our running back, got into a fight with somebody in the stands, was chirping, and he went up and gave him a bloody lip. And I was going to say, was that a young Chip Patterson? That was before your time. That was before your time. So I didn't remember that. I thought you were baiting me. I thought you were going to lay the 13.5 and take the heels. I like the over. I didn't get my text from Charlie this week. I don't have the confirmation. I kind of like Florida State getting 2 touchdowns here, but I'm not touching this game. I like where you're thinking, though. The ACC, by the way, overs the last 3 weeks are 12-3 overs.
And
Can't defend in that conference.
And some of it for North Carolina is that the young guys haven't come far enough along that the defensive staff trusts them to put them out there in some of these big games that are close. And so the starters' legs are getting tired. And if you do put them out there, they might be totally lost. And so I think that this is going to be a spot where for a couple games, because they're going to have to build out that depth before you get to the end of the season. For a couple games, we might see North Carolina overs as a little bit of a principal play.
I thought about this over as I just did.
Oh, really? I'm shocked.
Did my over hunt for the weekend. This was on this was in the crosshairs at one point. So I wish you well. The over army wishes you well. We'll be rooting for you.
All right. Who's up?
I'll go. I guess we should probably wash the over out of this with an under. I am taking the under. Where's it at? What's the best I can get? 61. I'm taking the under 61.5 in another ACC game. I'm talking about Virginia and Wake Forest because, gentlemen, what in the world have we seen from either one of these offenses that warrants the total being in the 60s in a game between them?
Wake Forest put up 66 on the Fighting Camels.
Yeah, exactly. They put up 66 on the Camels. They put up points on NC State, but it's just Virginia. Like, if we're looking at a 61.5 total where Virginia is the 3.5 point favorite, depending on where you're looking, that means Virginia is going to have to score 34, 35 points in this game for it to go over. I have seen nothing from Virginia to suggest to me that it's getting near that total. So yeah, I'm very comfortable taking the under here.
Lock agreement.
Ooh.
Yes. Welcome back.
Okay. How many of you guys watched the Virginia game last week?
I did.
Okay. So when you saw Lindell Stone trot out there at quarterback wearing number 36, all 240 pounds of him, bearded, what did you think that looked like? I mean, feel free to answer, but I suspect
frat intramurals.
A little bit, but I think you weren't ready to go there in your head, but you probably looked like that's a married man with a kid at home. And what you may not realize is that is in fact a married man with a kid at home. Like, he has got a wife and a kid. He's
did not know that.
He has like this. He's not like worried about this game. He's got a kid. they got like big formula for. You know, he went out there with Virginia. Like, Virginia asked him to throw it 56 times, and he's not capable of doing that at a high level. And so I respect number 36, Lindell Stone, and the effort that he gave over the weekend. And I think his teammates have a lot of respect for him, but he is not a guy they're going to go put it on his arm once again. He is a guy that they're going, if he's starting out like a Brennan Armstrong he got concussed, there's a chance he could be back. It sounds like it's more than likely going to be Lindell Stone. So here's what Virginia doesn't want. They do not want to get behind and get in some sort of shootout against Wake Forest, who is going to try to push the pace. Like, if Wake Forest has their way, this will go over. But I think Virginia, who has a really good defense, who has a running game that they're going to really lean on, is not going to let their married family man try to just like toss it around the yard and run up the score. So I like the under here. Does anyone else have a play on this game?
I do.
Okay. All right. Because then I got another play I want to bring up.
I'm gonna take the Deeks.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think the Deeks plus the points is the play here. I don't know why you were coming to the artist formerly known as BB&T Field thinking you're going to withdraw a win. This is a Wake Forest team that can kind of cook on offense. I mean, they just that is not just looking at the 66 points that they put up against the Fighting Camels, but also just sort of looking at the way that they've kind of got things running. Good old CBS. That's their new their new go-to back right now. Sam Hartman's playing with a lot of confidence. So I feel like Wake Forest is the right side. I feel like they win this game. And so I feel like wrong team favored.
So I did actually have, this was the Wake Forest plus the points is a, pick in the margin for me. That was one that I definitely considered. And in fact, if you like the under, you could almost play Wake as a hedge, because I think if Virginia wins this game, I just don't see it going over. But if for some reason Wake is, and I think Wake could pull the upset, then again, then you may necessitate a more pass happy Virginia. Wake may have established the tempo and the pace of this game. So I think that could be a hedge that I sort of dabble in on Saturday.
Wake's defense is concerning. That's what has me from jumping on the under. But yeah. I trust where the claw fence is at right now. Again, I know it was Campbell, but it's just you look in the like initial stages of that game, or the way that they responded from going down really early to NC State and sort of kept coming back with haymakers. It's a small sample size team, but I'm with it. Give me the Deeks plus the points.
So because I feel a little bit ashamed to be jumping on an under, I feel like I do owe it to the Over Army to come back and deliver an over pick for you guys. And so you could go over anywhere on the slate. This is an over year. So just, have at it, spray the board with overs. But the one that I'm digging into here is an SEC over. This is the new Big 12. This is the Big 12 2.0. So I don't care whether these are traditional, grind it out type of teams. This is the new era. Chad Morris versus Mike Bobo. I think Auburn-South Carolina, the number is 51.5. The number is for a 2018 Auburn-South Carolina. This is 2020. And so Colin Hill's capable. Mike Bobo has got a little of that Colorado State in him now. This isn't the Georgia Mike Bobo. This is the Colorado State Mike Bobo. They've run the ball pretty well. South Carolina, they've got some balance. They're figuring out ways to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. This is not the Auburn defense that we're used to. Not that it's a bad unit, but it's not an elite unit. I think we're at the point now where we can start to see a little bit of progression offensively from Auburn. I think, you got Chad Morris. We know, he wants to go fast. He's told us that a bunch of times. And Bo Nix, you would think, is going to start to settle in a little bit. And look, they got Anthony Schwartz the ball a bunch of times last week. I think they know where their playmakers are. I just think that these two teams, I think it's a close game. I think South Carolina could win it. I don't really know what's going to happen on the side, but I think these two teams are going to figure out a way to get the ball in the end zone a few times. And so I'm going to go over I think a reasonable number at 51.5.
Barton, you'll be happy to know that on our Tuesday HQ Cover 3 on HQ Picks show, I took the over in this game as well.
Look at that.
Wow.
I'm not locking it up, but I did take the over. I do think it's the right play here.
Does anybody else is anybody jumping on the side?
I want to get on South Carolina, but I'm not going to. You on it? Are you locked agreement?
Absolutely. We are going to
let's do it.
swing from the $1 million chicken outside of Williams-Brice Stadium. All right. You don't spring the money for the bronze chicken if you don't want to make sure it's used for a celebration for taking down a ranked Auburn team. This is a little bit of ball don't lie. Looking back at the Arkansas game, this is loving South Carolina's competitiveness late in the game against Florida. And I just think, especially when that spread came out, I was like, well, if we're looking for the spots where there's going to be a couple of interesting results along the way, potential upsets, you've got the ranked against unranked, the South Carolina team that played a little bit above its head earlier in the year. Got a lot of good vibes coming off the Vanderbilt game. Let's go Gamecocks +3. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I wouldn't hate it if you want to make it a little, but we'll see. We'll see by the end of the show if that's where we go. I like the 3 points though, as a little bit of wiggle room. So I'll take South Carolina.
You get 3.5, right, Tom?
I'll get you 3.5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even better. And I have a feeling this game might get to up to 4.5 when the game starts. So I'm going to take it with you. I all the same things. I like the fight against Florida. They were extremely competitive in that game. If they would have gone a little bit faster, maybe they would have been a bit closer. The get right game against Vanderbilt, that's the confidence boost you needed. Playing at home, and what my eyes are telling me about Auburn is this is a team that's in disarray right now. They are still trying to figure things out. They're not as good defensively as they were last year. I'm trusting the chaos too. This is a total chaos game for the SEC.
All right, I'll go next. I'm going back to the ACC well. I'm going back to the underdog well because we've mentioned how this has been a great year for overs. It's been an even better year for underdogs. I am taking a team that I will now promise to respect for the rest of the season after disrespecting a little bit before the year, not really believing in it, but I have seen the light. And I'm taking Boston College plus 12.5 at Virginia Tech. This Eagles team is just, like I said, it's better than I thought it was going to be. I was very skeptical of what this team was going to look like coming into the year with Jeff Hafley in his first year, not having a spring practice, not having your typical kind of lead up to a season. I thought we were going to see a very poor team that had, like a bit of a rebuild. Hasn't been the case. They came out strong in their opener against Duke. That Texas State game we held against them at the time, but in retrospect, it seems more along the lines that Boston College was just kind of taking the week off to prepare for, its game the following week. And it looked good last week against Pitt. I think this is a good team. And I look at Virginia Tech, who has done a great job running the ball, and I think is probably still going to win this game. But Virginia Tech's run defense has been awful so far this season. So I think that Boston College and Phil Yurkovich are going to be able to move the ball on them enough to at least stay within range here. So I like the Eagles.
I am are you on this game?
Me?
Yeah.
No, but
I love it. I'm not on it.
But stay tuned for the money line sprinkle.
Oh, because it feels a little like the Duke Virginia Tech game last year. Oh.
All right, so I'm in the reserves, Barton. I'm in the over Army reserves for this one because I'm in on the over for North Carolina, Florida State, and I am in on the over for Virginia Tech, Boston College because Boston College wide receiver Zay Flowers is a problem. He leads the ACC in receiving. He leads the ACC in receiving touchdowns, and nobody can cover him. And Virginia Tech's secondary, which was down, it's starting 2 corners against North Carolina. And look, they're starting to get a little bit back, 23 players out in game 1, 21 players out in game 2, 15 players out in game 3. They're starting to get more players available, but I still think that defense and the defensive backfield in particular is just not all on the same page right now. I mean, they don't have things locked down, and that is going to be a problem when trying to defend Flowers. So I think Flowers gets 2 touchdowns and has about 120 yards receiving, maybe more. And I do think Virginia Tech's going to be able to run the ball. So I like the over. Is it 62? Is that the best number I'm going to be able to get?
Yeah, I can get you 62.
Yeah, I'll go over 62. ACC overs have looked pretty good this week on the board, but that's the one I'm locking up.
Chip, you've got 7 games on your card already.
I think I'm done. I've got one more left.
Of course you do.
Yeah. I've got one left.
I'll squeeze one in here.
Barton.
I guess, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. I'll squeeze one in here. So, what do we, Danny, what is it called when, like, in a spread offense, when, a wide receiver sees or a quarterback sees a wide receiver uncovered and he just, like, gets the ball out to him real quick? Is it like what is it? Easy access yards or?
Yeah, I like that. I like that term.
Free access. Is that what they used to call it?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna take some free access money here. Just like it's out there, you just got to take it. If you're not going to cover me, we're just going to take our 5 yards. And if Kansas is laying like they're catching anything less than like 30 something, then I'm just going to take it. So West Virginia minus, I don't know, was 22 or something. Whatever it is,
21.5. I can give you.
Yeah, 21.5. That's free access. That's 6 yards. Well, it's 2nd and 4. We'll take that 2nd and 4. I don't think I have to go into some deep dive breakdown of this one. It's just Kansas has not shown us yet that it has any capability of being competitive. Now, if it shows us, then if they're in some sort of like, trap coverage where they're buzzing a flat defender out there and then I didn't see it coming, then sure, okay. But right now, it's free access yards. So give me West Virginia laying 21.5.
That is the big noon Saturday premier Big 12 game.
It's the only Big 12 game going this week. Yeah.
And Danny, what you got?
All right, I've been inspired. Barton mentioned the SEC as the new Big 12. And then he went and picked a game that was what the total was, 51.5 or something like that. That's not a Big 12 total. You know what a Big 12
do it.
You know what a Big 12 total is?
Yes.
It's 76. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop on the lane train. I'm going to hop on this new revamped Arkansas. Felipe Franks has been on fire the last 2 games. I think this is going to be wild. We know we're going to get production. We know we're going to get a ton of offense. I think you could see this game easily getting in the 40s. So I'm going to hop on there. I'm going to stop trying to go the other way and play contrarian. I'm just going to embrace it. And I'm taking the Ole Miss Arkansas. I liked Ole Miss, but I was like, no, don't overthink it. Just take the – I was thinking, oh, it's going to be a high possession game. Well, yeah, if it's going to be that, it means they're scoring a lot of points. So give me the over in the Ole Miss Arkansas game. I'm telling you, Barton's preamble at the beginning of the show really inspired me. So that his influence is all over this.
Man,
so I'm going to take
you've
over.
just been promoted to general the Overs Army. If you are willing to jump on a 76 number in an SEC game, you get a star on your sleeve.
It's the year of chaos.
Listen,
I got another good over if anybody wants to get on.
No,
Tom, you
just
getting in
to
on
show that we're a team, even though I'm fundamentally opposed to this, I can get you a 75.
I kind of wish it was 76. Yeah.
Then lock it up at 76. I can easily type that into the document for you, sir.
We got to give wow. You just okay, I'm not going to just get on it, but that was so, I was actually going to just offer it up just to make sure everyone saw, all the listeners out there saw there is a 76 number in the SEC. And if you wanted to get sort of an honorary inclusion into the Overs Army, play it. And I wasn't even necessarily ready to play it, but that Danny jumping on it is so inspiring. I'm going to stay away on the pod, I think, but I'm probably going to play it in real life.
My concern is, how many points do you need Arkansas to score?
Well, I mean,
28.
How
you
many
need 4 touchdowns.
Right.
They can get 28.
Easy.
Yeah.
I think they can easy in their sleep against that defense.
Ole Miss they're not stopping anybody.
No.
They did only defend 41 available yards against Alabama.
Right?
And
Kentucky rushed for 400 yards.
I don't know if this is a positive or a negative in terms of the play, but this is brother-in-law versus brother-in-law. Jeff Lebby versus Art Briles. The Art Briles, or Jeff Lebby versus Kendall Briles, rather. The Art Briles system in full effect here. So it's Big 12.
Big 12.
Big 12.
What more do you need?
You know what, guys? Yep. I can't not do this. Lock fight. Sorry, principal.
Just so disgusted.
Fight.
I'm taking the under 76 in this game.
Can't let it stand.
Maybe we middle. Maybe there's 75 and a half
just
points scored, but I can't stand by and let this happen.
Now, Barton's not officially in on this, right?
In.
Yeah.
It's happening on our podcast.
Just the reputation of the pod is just going down the tube.
Yeah.
What's your record in lock fights with me?
I don't think it's good. Let me see.
No, it's 3-0. You're
I'm
0-3. Just to point out, if anybody's listening, deciding which side to take.
It's trust the process, not the results, kids.
That isn't Danny. I just want to tell you, man, just you taking that over 76 is invigorating to me. The rest of my day is going to be good.
Is anybody, I'll give you one. How about you seen the line in the UCF Memphis game?
73?
73 and a half. I kind of wanted to get on that one too. Just go full embrace. I'm not going to.
It's
though.
probably going to hit.
I know.
No, I'm not going to get on that one. I was wondering if UCF was going to be able to avoid false starts enough to be able to get down the field. Did y'all see that? UCF's false starts alone rank number 1 in college football in penalties. Just the false starts.
Seems like something that's fixable, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
When you're trying to go that fast? I don't know. These days, everything is go, 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 kind of like UCF's offense. It's nonstop hustle all the time. Work, friends, family. There's a million pressing social issues, and there's an expectation to just be on 24/7. Sometimes you need to slow it down. You need to take an under. You're going to have a false start unless you take some time to sit back and chill. That's when you reach for a Coors Light. It is literally made to chill. Coors Light wants you to know that no matter what sport is on this fall, Saturdays are just your time. That is your time with Coors Light. I mean, maybe your team isn't even playing that particular week. Maybe that's even a better time to chill. There's still plenty of teams and plenty of sports that are on TV to give you an excuse to chill and drink a beer. I mean, Coors Light is the official beer of watching college football just to drink beer. So flip through the channels, find a game, and crack open a cold Coors Light. When you crack open that Coors Light, you're going to know that it is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged, literally made to chill. It's as crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies, perfect for any moment to unwind. Coors Light is the one that I choose when I need to unwind. So when you want to hit reset, reach for a beer that's made to chill, get Coors Light in the new look delivered straight to your door at getcoorslight.com. CoorsLight.com. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I also thought about UCF -3.5, but that false start statistic had me a little bit shaken. All right, I've got one left before Moneyline Sprinkles.
I've got 3 left.
Good going.
So I'll go with my next one. I'm going to go back to the SEC. I am see here. You know what, Chip? You asked me at the top of the show if I learned any lessons last week, and I was too defensive. I was angry that we were starting the show that way. I did learn a lesson last week, an actual lesson. And that lesson is I am never going to trust Jarrett Guarantano against a good defense again. And you know what Jarrett Guarantano is going against this week?
Good defense.
So I am taking Kentucky +6 at Tennessee.
Okay.
Oh, no.
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 Oh, no. Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, you thought I was still on the Kentucky train. No, I'm not quite sure what to make of Kentucky. This is one of the more confounding teams, I think, to this point.
Danny, nothing?
Save it. A little teaser for later.
All right. Tom, you want to throw out another one?
All right, fine. Well, since we're here, I'm going to my specialty now, boys. I'm going to a games that I know there won't be any lock agreements. I know there won't be any lock fights. I know there won't be any of that stuff because none of you even looked at these games.
It's Middle Tennessee -6.5 against North Texas.
No.
Oh.
Close. It is another bottom 25 matchup. I am taking the fighting Jake Spavital's Texas State +3 at South Alabama, and the principle is very simple here. I don't take bad teams as favorites. South Alabama is not a good team. It is a bad team. It is favored against a Texas State team that is better than its record indicates. Its loss to Troy was a 20-point loss, and sure, that's not great looking, but Troy, is probably a better team than we realized just because it got its butt kicked by BYU. But Texas State in games against Southern Miss, it's 1-4, but it lost to SMU, UTSA, and that Boston College team I took earlier by 9 points combined in those 3 games. It's been in every single one of its losses, and I think it's better than South Alabama. Frankly, the Texas State should be favored in this matchup, so I'm going to take the Bobcats and 3 points.
Love it.
Sounds right.
No lock agreements? No lock agreements anywhere?
I made a note for personal. I'm not just gonna jump on it to capitalize. I think that is a very, very, very good pick. One that I may choose to follow or use later, but I don't want to mess up the standings. I keep for the integrity of this competition. I'm not going to jump on it, but that is a great line of thinking. So, all right, Danny, how many do you have left?
None. I just got my money line sprinkle.
I can't quit him. I can't quit the Louisville Cardinals. I can't. I'm looking at this Notre Dame team, and look, so I go to dig in on Notre Dame's availability this week, everything they're saying, and it is all signs pointing to a better performance from the defense. Brian Kelly called it one of the worst defensive performances of the Clark Lee era. In 29 games that Clark Lee has been the defensive coordinator, it was only the 4th time that someone had scored 26 points or more. It was only the 5th time that an offense had gone for 400 yards or more against the Irish. They snapped it back after halftime, played a really, really tight, took us to Undertown in a miracle 13-point second half. But, you would think that this is going to be a chance for them to come back. They had a 21-day layoff from competition. But I 1-3 Louisville, backs against the wall, so many offensive weapons. 17 points is a lot. 17 points is a whole heck of a lot. I can't quit you, Scott Satterfield. Haven't been able to since your days in Boone. I'm going to take Louisville plus 17. And if I can get 17 in a hook, I'll take it. But
you can.
Yeah, let's go. Best number I can get. I'm taking the Louisville Cardinals.
Yeah, this was in the crosshairs of the Over Army as well, because the thing that gives me a little hesitation, a little pause there, because I agree, Louisville showed that they could move the ball on Notre Dame last year, and Malik Cunningham is if he has a good game, watch out. But I'm just not sure. I think Notre Dame's offense is kind of figuring some things out. I think that they're starting to get rolling a little bit, get oiled up, and I'm just not sure Louisville's going to be able to stop them.
I like that over.
Yeah, I think that over is kind of right for the picking too.
Make a mental note, but I'm going to stick with it.
Take it.
Nah.
Let's see. So if Notre Dame gets like 42, what's the math there? Then Louisville's got to get 24 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's it at? It's at
64.
Yeah.
Actually, let's go over. Yeah, I'll throw it on there.
Both of them, or
both of them.
Okay.
All right.
Louisville plus 17 and the over. It's a freaking 10-play week.
Man, he's got a lot of action out there. Jealous.
All right, I'm done. Don't let me get another one out here before
Sure.
Sprinkle. Please take it away from me. Who else has got something left?
Barton, do you have anything left?
Yeah, I got one more play.
Cool.
Judge not, gentlemen, lest you be judged. Judge not, lest you be judged. Hugh Freeze is redeemed this weekend, boys. The redemption story of Hugh Freeze it has already begun, but it gets a jolt of energy after he beats Syracuse and our beloved Fighting Dino Babers. This team, let me throw out a couple numbers for you for Syracuse. First of all,
quoting the book of Matthew and ignoring the book of Dino. Come on, man.
So this is kind of remarkable here. Offensively, Syracuse, 76. Keep in mind, there's 76 teams playing. 76th in the country in success rate, 75th in the country in marginal efficiency, 72nd in the country in 3-and-out percentage. Now, they are 18th in the country in marginal explosiveness, 13th in the country in ISO PPP, which is a Bill Conley stat to measure explosiveness. But their explosive play rate is 74th in the country. So they never have them. They're 76th in the country in rushing success rate, 76th in the country in passing success rate. This offense has just been awful. Like in every way you can spin it, it's been awful. Now Tommy DeVito is out. And so you got your offensive line coming into the season was sort of a mess. Your running backs opted out. Now you're onto your backup quarterback, and you're playing a Liberty team that, granted, hasn't really played anybody any good, but has looked pretty darn good doing it. And it's a team that can score points. Hugh Freeze is a coach that is, I think, one of the best in the country at putting points on the board, regardless of where he's at. Malik Willis has been having a good year at quarterback. So I think Liberty's a better team, and maybe significantly so. And so I'm going to go ahead and lay 3.5.
2.5.
2.5. I'll take it. Give me Liberty. I think that they win, and I'm not sure it's super close.
What? not.
I mean, I think that they win by a touchdown plus.
I mean, I'm not thrilled about it, but he's right. I don't know.
Yeah.
'Cause I have one pick left, but I know Danny's got to catch a flight, so I'll be really quick about it so we can get to money line sprinkles. I'm taking Western Kentucky plus 14 at UAB. Western Kentucky has not covered a spread yet this year. It has to happen eventually. It happens this week.
All right.
Love it.
Time for money line sprinkles. Danny, what's yours?
All right. Barton, before we were talking about the Kentucky-Tennessee game. Barton said, I don't know. What did you say? Kentucky? I don't know if I figured out what's their identity?
Yeah, I think I said they're confounding.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what they are. I think they are a tough, physical team that wants to run the football. They are back-to-back, second year in a row, leading the SEC in rushing. Terry Wilson is becoming more of a Lynn Bowden Jr. type quarterback than I thought. He's actually rushing for 73 yards a game. They have a nice balance with Rodriguez and Rose in the backfield. They want to run the football, and Tennessee got absolutely trounced by Georgia in the run game, but it wasn't only that game. They've also been struggling against the rush. They're not that solid. I think this is that spot similar to the Miami game with Pitt. They just coming off a loss. They had so much into that, invested in that one. This to Tennessee, and I don't even think Tennessee thought they were going to win that game, but it was all right. How do we stack up? They got beat up physically, mentally, exhausted. Better get ready to go. Another noon kick. I think this is one that has Kentucky. It's ripe for a Tennessee upset right here. In that 8-game win streak, I brought it up on here a bunch. It was a little bit fraudulent. I think Tennessee's comeback excitement was just a little bit ahead of itself, and I think they get a little bit more of a dose of reality this weekend. So I'm going to take Kentucky. What's the best number I can get?
190.
All right, win it outright.
All
I
right.
hope you're right, because then my lock won.
Who's up?
I'll go, because I am winning this competition, and I'm crushing you gentlemen in this competition after another winner last week with my NC State plus 260. But I'm going the opposite of that this week. I'm going the team playing NC State because I talked about it on this show. I think NC State is going to be the chaos team this year, and Danny wants to trust the chaos. I am trusting the chaos. I am taking Duke plus 165 against NC State.
Don't hate it. Look ahead spot. NC State's got North Carolina on the horizon. Yeah. If they're spending too much time in the 2 straight road games, now you're at home. You're going to let some fans back in the stand. We are the 7%. That's they might get a little bit too comfortable. All right. Barton, your money lines.
So when I was in high school and when I would maybe go out on a Friday or a Saturday night and perhaps illegally consume adult beverages before the age of 21. And the next morning I might wake up and I'm not full speed. And maybe my dad might sense a little bit that last night, perhaps I didn't follow the rules. I mean, somehow he would always find like a healthy dose of chores for me to do,
Yeah.
Like you got like all of a sudden, like the leaves just got to be raked like that, like in the morning. Now you can't wait till the afternoon. They got to be raked right now. Lawn's got to be mowed, cars got to be, whatever it is, there's some chores that have to be done. Pitt football is the leave raking of the ACC. If Miami's got a hangover, Pitt football is a rake in Miami's hands, and they got to get there and do it. And it's not going to be fun. And so I already am playing them plus the points. I think that they can win outright, and I'm getting a plus 390 number on them.
Buddy, I can get you plus 440.
Plus 440. Okay, great. Yeah,
great.
whatever. All right, plus 440. I think that Pitt, I don't necessarily expect them to win, but at that value, I think you got to put a little money on it. So I'm gonna go Pitt, and I got another one because you guys keep on. I'm like 1 to 2 picks, sometimes 3 picks behind you guys on the money line sprinkle. So I see a similar principle here, not necessarily a hangover principle, but a just what the hell are we to make of the ACC principle. BC, what's my number there?
Best I can get you for Boston College is 375.
All right, this is going to be a big week here. So, maybe Virginia Tech beats them by 20 points. I think that's very much within the realm of possibility. But how are we supposed to have any confidence in what Virginia Tech is from week to week? We don't really even know who the quarterback is. We don't really know what their secondary is going to look like. They've had COVID issues. Boston College, you can doubt them all you want, but they keep on figuring out ways to win. I think, again, this is just a great value for two teams that we don't really have a firm grasp on and could look very different week to week. I trust Boston College to go in here expecting to win, and I'm not sure I fully trust Virginia Tech to have everything ironed out. And so I think that's plenty of value for me to get BC plus whatever you just said.
All right, those are two long dogs, and I like that. I like that because I'm a little bit jealous of it. I'm sitting on number one, late edition. I thought about only limiting myself instead of coming back with another twofer, but great principle, Tom. The Fighting Spavital's, they've been just a darling of this podcast. South Alabama is not a good team, should not be favored. Texas State, what am I get, 120?
Let me see. I can get you. Where'd you go, game? There we go. I can get you 120. Yeah.
Okay, let's go 120 for Texas State, and I will also be locking up because we've gotten back to midnight, right? So we started with 623 passing yards. Then we move on to the hangover letdown against Arkansas. Then we just have 2 points only from a safety. And so now we're back at the top. We've got Mike Leach at home in Starkville. We have purged the malcontents. I'm going to be sprinkling Mississippi State plus 195. This is for all of the signature, like you're almost jumping on the other side of the signature win. Like if Texas A&M going on the road after that game against Florida, like I don't know if there's an SEC opponent besides Vanderbilt that I would not just already think, yeah, they could win outright.
There's a hilarity principle in play here
because it'd be funny.
Yeah, it would have been hilarious if A&M beat Florida last year, and now it would be equally hilarious if A&M were to lose to Mississippi State. I think that's a fair principle here.
After Mike Leach has lost to Arkansas and Kentucky, then to follow it up with the win against Texas A&M, nearly top 10 Texas A&M at that. So, to review. All right, so we got everybody in there.
Wait. Does the dentist have a play this week?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you know what? The dentist, it was a very what did he say?
It was cryptic.
I didn't get a final answer. I don't think he has a play. He said his lock was going to be LSU, Florida. He said I would pick the Ole Miss game, but I'm hearing COVID rumors. Can't find out who isn't playing. I'm not going to bet until I know what is going on. I do expect Arkansas defense to play Ole Miss offense better than people think. I'm leaning Arkansas, but that doesn't sound like a lock to me.
You know what that sounds like to me?
An under.
Sounds like an under.
So the dentist going to take a pass week. All right, Tom's card. We've got the Lock Infinity, Alabama -3.5 against Georgia. We've got Lock Unity, UNITY with Pitt plus 14 at Miami. Then he's going to be on Boston College plus 12.5 at Virginia Tech. He's in a lock fight with Danny over that aforementioned Ole Miss Arkansas game. Tom on the under 76. Kentucky plus 6 against Jarrett Garantino. The Virginia Wake under 61.5. That's a lock agreement with Barton. Texas State plus 3 against South Alabama. Western Kentucky plus 14 at UAB. Barton's card, Bama -3.5, Pitt plus 14, the over 51.5 in South Carolina, Auburn, Liberty -2.5 at Syracuse, West Virginia -21.5 against Kansas, and then that under 61.5 in Virginia Wake. Chip's card, Bama -3.5. Also the under in Alabama, Georgia at 56.5. BYU -4.5 at Houston. The over 63.5 in UNC, Florida State. South Carolina plus 3.5 against Auburn. Wake plus 2.5 against Virginia. Virginia Tech, BC over 62. Louisville plus 17.5 against Notre Dame, and the Louisville Notre Dame over 63.5. Danny's got Bama minus 3.5, Pitt plus 14, BYU minus 4.5, the over 75, Ole Miss, Arkansas in a lock fight with Tom, and then South Carolina plus 3.5. No standing on his own. Everything's either a fight or an agreement or a unity or an infinity for the 1995 ACC Player of the Year, Danny Cannell. The money line sprinkles. Tom's going against his beloved Wolfpack with Duke plus 165. Barton keeping it in the ACC with a Pitt plus 440, BC plus 375. One of those hits, it's a profitable week. I've got Texas State plus 120, Mississippi State plus 195 because it'd be funny. And Danny's going Kentucky plus 190. We got so many games getting canceled, but that's still a whole boatload of picks for the people. I feel good about it.
That is, you've got a stacked card, but you're right. I didn't even notice that about Danny's card. It's like, so we all kind of have to root for Danny to do well this week, or it'll be bad for all of us.
The syndicate is invested in Danny Cannell's 5 picks this week.
No, Danny just invested in like an index fund of the syndicate, just like dabbling in everyone's picks. He's just playing the market, and the market keeps on going up.
Yeah, and it's good. You can follow him on Twitter at Barton Simmons. You can follow him at Tom Fernelli. You can follow him at Danny Cannell. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.